Hello and welcome to ArtDay. Today I did actually record at my balcony, but it was a tiny little bit too windy for my audio equipment, so I have to have a voiceover. I didn't want to annoy your ears too much. So today is actually a super sunny, nice day, and I've been in my outside studio. Outdoor studio, as you also name it, or balcony, whatever you want to call it, because I wanted to film outside today as I wanted to have the newly planted flower pots that I planted last week. I wanted to have them as a reference photo for the painting that I wanted to do for my cousin in this letter journal that we sent back and forth. In the iCards, there is the Taco Clock episodes that shows me planting those flowers, so you can see what the pink daisies do look like that I have as a reference. And I wanted to work with a very quick illustration-y kind of a style. Excuse me, not a lot of planning when it comes to line work and everything. So I'm going in with ink pen straight away instead of using pencil beforehand. And that, for one, forces you to maybe work a bit more loose or just be brave or trust yourself. And on the other hand, it's very freeing to do that stuff because with the squiggly line kind of method or art technique, you could actually achieve something very pretty and still not stress while actually drawing or painting. And I do like that style for my daily sketches that I post on Instagram, and I do like to work with that in, well, maybe not as illustration-y kind of a style, but still it's the same, let's say, major art technique when it comes to the draw for initiative paintings, and also, well, other illustration-y things that I do. So I'm starting with a waterproof black pen, and the materials that I'm going to use are going to be in the blog post that's going to be published at 10 a.m. once this video is out. I wanted to... Well, I'm going to send a letter, like with words and everything. I'm going to send that with the letter journal back to my cousin, and I'm going to, or I want to write her something like, so this is what I looked at when I painted. This is exactly what I looked at. And therefore, I wanted to have a flower pot on my balcony. So I'm starting off with the guardrail, the upper part. So this is the section where the flower pots actually are quote unquote anchored to the balcony to the guardrail. And that is metal. So I'm going to, well, take care of reflection and shading a tiny bit. And I'm not gonna work a lot on shading because I actually filmed this at noon, so I didn't have a lot of shadow on the flower pot. The sun was pretty much center high up in the sky, so I'm having only a little bit of shadow. But yeah, I'm sorry if my voiceover doesn't fit exactly with my hand motion, but I really didn't want to give you the windy treatment on your ears. I have to figure out how I can remedy that in case you want me to have the balcony painting sessions over the summer a bit more. I live in a very quiet neighborhood, so there's not a lot of cars, but a lot of birds, for example, and stuff, so very nature feely. So if you want me to record on the balcony, in the outside studio, and maybe hear some birds chirping in the background, you gotta let me know in the comment section below, and I will make sure that the wind microphone problem is gonna be remedied for the next art day there, so that I don't have to voice over. I did already sketch in the flower pot, and it is one of those that tells you when you gotta water your plants, or what the water in the flower pot is like how high it is. So that helps a lot with not killing plants, folks. And I'm sketching in the daisies. Now, I could have just colored them in or used the Neo colors for the flowers. But for one, I want to have this sketchy illustration-y feeling throughout the whole painting. Meaning, of course, I also have to sketch in the flowers. And I just want to have the color that I'm going to use as kind of almost like a print or something. It's going to be apparent later when I do have the color added to my painting here. But for now, I'm just looking at the flower pots and I'm sketching the daisies that I see. And I'm only having a few squiggly lines for the flowers and a few squiggly lines for the leaves, and it will all come together once I have the color in. It might not look as a whole bunch of daisies there, but most of those green lines are actually leaves and stems for the daisies. Oh, excuse me. Hoo-hoo. Sun makes tired. And I'm just looking back and forth at my painting and at the flower pot, at the reference flower pot, from where I do sketch, looking back and forth, and then, applying squiggly lines so that my painting or my drawing looks exactly like the flower pot that I do have in front of me. And this is one of the bigger bundles of daisies. This really, it grew quite a bit last week. I'm having a couple of pots where I have 2 bunches of daisies in there, and they have a lovely dark pink tone, and it's really nice. I like my balcony. So I'm gonna sketch in the second bunch of daisies as well. But this one is a bit smaller, and I do have more green and less blossoms on that particular bunch of daisies. So I'm just putting in the lines where I need the stems for those few blossoms. And the rest is going to be just the green petals, Excuse me. I'm kind of coughing. I hope that I can, survive this voiceover without having too much of a scratchy voice, because I'm not sure if I'm having super heavy allergies this year or if I'm getting a head cold, but my voice, I have a sore throat. My nose is running like hell. It's not nice, and my eyes are definitely giving me the allergy treatment, so I'm not sure what it is. I hope I'm not getting sick. I hate being sick. I can deal with allergies. I can live with that for another, 2 or 3 weeks until I'm good. But anyway, if I lose my voice, that's why. I'm sorry. So there we got it. This is the major outline for I should really stop yawning. I'm so sorry, folks. This is the major outline of my painting here, and I wanted to also have a bit of a mixed media illustration-y thing going on. So once I'm happy with my lines here, I'm going to go in with the Kuretake Pearl watercolors. I really like them. They're very subtle and they have a shimmer and not a glitter. And they came in the last art box, and I'm gonna have that link for you in the iCards as well, where I test them and unpack them. I'm just noting the timestamp on where I have to enter that iCard. That would be the art box one. Okay. So yeah, that's that. I'm having a couple of water tank brushes with me on the balcony, and when I go to my outside studio, aka my balcony, I don't bring the whole studio downstairs. So it's kind of a limited supply thing going on, which I enjoy a lot. And I brought the pearl colors, and I want to use the blue there for the background. There you can really water them down quite a bit, as you can with the Kuretakes, and still get a nice tone or tint to the page. So I brought 3 water tank brushes, one that I only use for the pearl watercolors because it's really difficult to get the shimmer out of the brush, even with cleaning it, and then you have transfer. And I didn't want to have the glitter or the shimmer on the rest of my painting. I really just want to have it for the background. Now, I did also bring the Neo Color 2. This is a water soluble crayon, and I really like to use it. Or the supply for my illustration-y kind of drawings. Or I use the Inktense. That's the other supply that I really like to use for this kind of art style, where I do put a tiny bit of a cheap waxy colored pencil on top in the end and have an inky outline. So I'm choosing the colors on what I want to do. Of course, I want to have the purple pink because that's just perfect for my daisies, and I'm deciding on what green I want to have. I don't have the exact green that the flowers are, so I got a mix, and I want to have the moss green either with the lime green or the grass green. And in the end I did decide, okay, I'm using lime green quite a bit, so let's just go for the grass green instead. And I'm gonna mix those colors and make, well, some nice green parts of my flowers. Decided to use the raw umber for the flower pot because that color is closest to what the flower pot actually looks like. And I don't want to with these kind of drawings or sketches, I don't really want to mix all of my colors. I want to have quite a bit of a color variety. That's actually why I do like the Inktense and the Neo colors so much for this particular style. With other media and other paintings, I definitely want to mix my own colors. So I'm using the watercolor pens for that, like the Schminke or the Kuretake, and I do have 5 major colors in my artwork, and I mix all of the shades in between that I need. So I do like to do that with other paintings, but not with the illustration-y kind of style here, where I'm way more bright and less earth tony. And I'm almost on the verge of being cartoony with my color choices there. They're very bright, they're very bold. And when I work with my watercolors, like the Schminke pans or the Kuretake pans, I'm way more earth tony. So that is, and I'm mixing my colors way more. I don't want to do that with the Neo colors. I wanna use them pretty pure. So I decided the only thing that I'm gonna mix are the 2 green tones for the leaves. But I'm gonna start with my background. just to get the pearliness out of the way. And I'm using a water brush for that, one of those Pentel water brushes that I really like to use for these kinds of paintings. And I'm having a lot of water and a little watercolor paint on the brush, and I'm going bottom to the upper section so that the light is actually coming from the top. So I'm having more and more water towards the top and kind of feather out or have a gradient transition towards the white paper. And I like to work with white space on this particular kind of illustration or drawing. So I want to fade the background blue to white there. That is why I'm starting. Whenever I pick up pigment, I'm starting at the bottom of the where the background meets the flower pot, and then I move it up with more and more water towards the top where the white will come in. See, that's already the background. It's rather quick there. Just going in between a few of the blossoms. Pull in a bit of pigment there. Have a bit more blue, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And then I can let this dry and move on to the rail, the guardrail there. I'm also changing up water brushes because, again, even if I clean this to Kingdom Come, there's always going to be that one little shimmer particle in there, and I don't want to have that on my focal point here. And I'm sorry, the camera is shaking. That's actually the wind there. I have to figure out things for when I want to record in the outside studio. You have to let me know if you want to actually have more videos from the outside studio, so that I know I don't do the figuring out work all for nothing. So please let me know in the comment section if you want to be with me in the outside studio. So I'm starting with the raw umber and apply that towards the upper part of the flower pot. I'm being quite dark there, and I'm having more and more water once I pull down the pigment towards the guardrail there. I'm trying to stay within the sections that I actually outlined, so I don't want to have the neo colors on top of the ink pen, because then it's like a milky kind of a feeling going on, and I have to go over the ink lines again once the painting is dry to blacken them. So I try to stay away from the ink lines like from the beginning, and that ensures that I can skip the task of re-blackening those ink lines afterwards. And I'm just filling in the whole flower pot with that raw umber. I'm having 2 or 3 layers in some areas so that they are darker, and I'm having just 1 layer in other areas so the part is lighter. And that is quite the easy way to do light and shadow without a lot of layers everywhere, and actually in a kind of fast and easy way. I like to, like I said, work with this particular style when it comes to illustrations and sketches and stuff, with ink pen, water soluble colors. That is not watercolor, but water soluble colors, and color pencils. It's funny that with different supplies or sub-media in a category, I like to work differently. So if I work, for example, with my Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils, I don't like to have the waxy, cheap color pencils on top, if I want to have a mixed media thing going on. But I like the polychromos because they do have the exact same tones, and I can play with that. If I use watercolor like from the pots, Kuretake or Schmicke, I don't want to have colored pencils on top. I'm not really in the mood then to go mixed media with those items. I mean, yes, I will have ink outlines maybe, or some gouache, some splatter, but I'm not gonna, or I'm not going on top with colored pencils a lot. Because with those colors, I like to, or with those supplies, I like to stay more real life color, more earthy, more real nature, and not so much the illustration-y or stylized kind of a way like I do with the neo colors here, or I do with the Inktense. And there I really don't like the polychromos on top a lot, but I do prefer the cheap Faber-Castell wax-based pencils that people over here use in school. They're like for 60 or 70 pencils, you pay something like 16 euros. They're really, really cheap. But they really do a nice job on top of water-soluble media. And I really like them a lot with both Inktense and neo colors. So yeah, that's just, I mean, it's nice to once in a while, depending on what major water-soluble supply you use, if it is watercolors or anything else, that you then choose other media with it, that your style maybe changes or your focus changes on how you do things. It makes sure that you're not bored with the technique that you're using pretty much every day in art. It's just a nice little thing that if you're a watercolorist or you really like to work with watercolors or water-soluble media, you can still change things up a tiny little bit just by either having a different kind of colored pencil or not colored pencil at all. Maybe you're more into ink with certain things, to add that for a mixed media artwork, or maybe you just go with wet and dry of the same medium. For example, the Tombow markers, they're water soluble. You can diffuse the ink with a bit of water and then go on top for very heavy lines without water. There's so many things that you can do, and that make sure that you enjoy yourselves with artwork. If you do maybe not have every medium in the book and you only want to change up things a tiny little bit to stay curious and to stay practicing, you know. So I'm going in with the green for the flowers now, and I'm changing to the smaller water brush to, well, add a bit of the darks towards the lower part of the greens here. Just adding a bit more depth and shading. And the rest I'm going to do with the colored pencils then. It's like, that's also one thing, you don't have to layer and layer and layer and layer with the water solubles, especially if you, like me in this book, work on a mixed media paper and not on a watercolor paper. So this paper holds water, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't hold as much water as the heavy watercolor paper holds. So I have a tiny little bit of peeling going on already. And that means that I can not have the 1500 layers of watercolor on this particular paper. It's gonna dissolve, but maybe one or two. And then I do add depth, contrast and stuff with colored pencils on top, which does not ruin my paper. And yeah, it's just it's just a nice, easy way to do that. So I'm using the Chinese green for the flower middle bud things. That's a technical term, folks, definitely. And then I'm going in with the purple pink, and yeah, I do add the really heavy contrast here. Just need a minute for the green to dry, the yellow green. The Chinese green is actually a yellow for me, but anyway, it has quite a greenish tint. And yeah, I just wait for a second there, and then I do put in the purple. And I'm being kind of particular with my brush strokes here, but not to the point that I'm filling in or coloring every petal on its own. I'm just being particular in regards to I'm making sure that I don't have any blurring going on between two flower buds. But I don't really care how much things blend together within one flower. Going in with a second layer on some of the flowers. And just check if my values are correct there. And I can do the rest with colored pencils, like I said. And then I gotta let this dry for a minute. I don't have the blow dryer with me because, well, I'm at my outdoor studio, so like I said, I bring very limited supplies there. And I'm gonna let this dry for just a minute there, and then I can go in with the colored pencils and add a little bit of shading. I don't have to shade a lot because, again, I'm having the sun very high up in the sky. So I don't have a lot of shading going on. Sorry, there's the shadow of my colored pencil pot on the painting. I didn't see that while I was recording, but it was super bright outside. Oh well. I'm just going through a couple of shades of colored pencils there and see which one I want. Takes a while. Sorry about that. But yeah, I did bring all of the colored pencils that I have from this particular waxiness. I didn't bring them all. I just brought blue, green, pink, yellow, and the nudes, so skin tones and grays and blacks. I didn't bring browns, for example. So I had to improvise a tiny little bit. actually the water thermometer kind of a thing has actually red lines on it, but I decided to take a dark blue because I didn't have red with me. But well, sometimes you just gotta make it work. I'm just shading a tiny little bit, so not too much, not too heavy, just adding a bit of pigment here and there to enhance contrast or sorry. Or well, intensify shading, but just to a certain degree. I'm very subtle with what I put down with my colored pencils there. And again, if you want to see details of that, you can check out the blog post. I do have close-up photos there. I do have the exact numbers of the neo colors and stuff there that I used. So it's all good to go. And I'm really... Oh, excuse me. Oh boy. I'm not only tired from the sun, but I'm also feeling my voice straining. And I still have 13 minutes to go, I hope. I hope it's not gonna be too bad. I'm using the light green colored pencil here for the stems and the leafy parts that are further away. And towards the bottom here of the flower pot, I'm using the olive green just to enhance shadow there. And here's a little tidbit behind the scenes. I'm also getting hungry, so once I have this recording done and editing of this video done, I'm definitely gonna make myself an early dinner or a very late lunch, whatever you want to call it. And since my hubby is traveling this week, I can eat all the things and cook all the things that he's not super fond of. And currently in season is the very first rhubarb and the very first asparagus. I already had rhubarb and I really love it. I love it grilled on salads with chicken and stuff. But today I'm gonna have asparagus with grilled asparagus with oh gosh, what's it called? Potatoes and a few little soft cooked eggs. Funny thing is, if you have green asparagus, not the white one, but the green one, if you just grill it in a pan without any oil, just dry, it gets a nutty flavor. And then you have the soft boiled eggs and you dip the green asparagus into the egg yolk. It's amazing. I know it sounds so weird, but it's really, really yummy for an early lunch or breakfast if you want to have asparagus and eggs for breakfast. It's really yummy. But yeah, I'm gonna add some potatoes to that and have a little lovely dinner later on with lots and lots of asparagus. I really like asparagus. Nom nom nom. So yeah. And I'm really getting hungry. But yeah, I haven't eaten since yesterday. And we had early dinner yesterday because we had to go to bed early because today in the morning, 5 a.m., the alarm clock said, you gotta get up now. You gotta bring your hubby to the train station so that he can leave for business. But he's only got a couple of days, so I have to make sure I eat everything today and tomorrow that he's not very fond of. Another thing that he's not very fond of is eggplants and courgettes, or zucchini and aubergine, whatever you want to call it. So tomorrow I'm gonna have something that is called Van Gogh stew, or yeah, it's kind of like a stew. It's like a ratatouille, but you add other things in there. So it's bell pepper and eggplant and zucchini or courgettes and tomatoes and onions and garlic, and you put it into a stew and let it simmer very nicely, and then you cut in potatoes. So I bought a handful of potatoes, which is like my non-paleo days this week. I'm having some potatoes with it. Yeah, I'm really getting hungry. I'm talking food instead of art. But I'm on to shading the rail guard there. And I just had the hand show you what the hooks look like around the rail guard where that flower pot is in. So that means that I do have quite a bit of shadow to the left and the right of the hook, and quite a bit of shadow also underneath the hook. So that is for the gray parts there. And I'm just enhancing the shadows. I'm not going super crazy. I'm just adding a little bit of shadow so that it's just darker and that it's correctly set apart and not look flat from the rest of the painting. But I'm not shading with black there, for example. I leave the black for the flower pot, for the very, very darks, where the flower pot meets the guardrail. But that's that. I still want a lot of the neocolors to look through and have that painterly look. And I don't want to have everything covered up with colored pencils. By moving your colored pencil, by the way, in tiny little ovals or circles, you get a smoother application of the pigment. And with a soft hand, you can layer quite a bit, even on top of the watercolors or water-soluble media there. But I'm only shading so much though, so that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go in with a heavier hand or anything, but I'm not gonna show you a lot of layering of colored pencils here today. Just saying, maybe another time. So now I bring in the black. And I don't remember what I said there. Oh yeah, I was talking about what I want to, or what I like to layer with what, which I told you already in this voiceover, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But I'm adding a tiny bit of black on top of the flower pot where the plants cast a shadow. Just a tiny little bit, not too much. Again, very light hand. Very, very light hand. And then I bump against the table and make the camera shake. I'm sorry about that. And underneath the guardrail... Oh no, that's the wind. It actually blew away my papers. And it made my camera shake. No! Oh, I'm sorry. Shading with black underneath the guardrail where there's the darkest shadows on the flower pot, and I have to sharpen my pencil because the lead just broke. I don't really like the particular brand there, but then again, it's 12 pencils for €3 from the supermarket. They have a very nice coverage. I really like to color with them, but I did have a lot of breakage. Oh, that's my alarm clock. Hold on. All right. So I had to sharpen my pencil, and I go in with the black where the flower pot meets the lower part of the guardrail, because there is the darkest shadow, and there goes the wind again. I gotta go with a tripod instead of the overhead camera if I ever wanna record on the balcony. But you gotta let me know. Please let me know in the comment section if you want me to have kind of like a summer outdoor studio kind of mini series maybe for the art day. I don't know what to call it, but you gotta let me know, because that means that I have to have a bit of adjustment for my audio equipment and my video equipment, and hope for very many dry days. Maybe not totally sunny every time, that's fine if it's overcast, but at least dry. I need dry weather, otherwise I cannot record on the balcony. So yeah. I wish I would remember what I was saying there. I don't. Ah, boy. It's so weird when the hands do not fit with what you hear. I'm sorry for... Oh, this is where the sun comes from. Okay. I was just saying that I recorded this at noon, so I'm not having a lot of big shadows. Would I have recorded at 3 p.m., the painting would have been very different, just because I would have used a different reference with way more shadow, and I just circled on the right-hand side of the painting. That would be the sun. So, would have been quite different. But anyway, I'm finishing my shading here, and then I'm gonna give it a last check and see if my values are correct, if I like what I see. I'm not having a glare like I do with the studio lights when I paint on the balcony with the sun, but still the paper lies flat instead of at an angle where it would be correct for where I sit. So I'm gonna tilt it in a minute and check if everything is correct there. I hope you enjoyed watching along. I'm really sorry that the real audio didn't work. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I voiced over a video that is not Draw for Initiative, so sorry about that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed nonetheless, and I hope you maybe found something that inspired you, or something that you learned, or something that just sparked an interest. Maybe you don't have the neo colors or any kind of that supply section, water-soluble colors, and you want to try them. They're really easy to handle. So I would definitely recommend working with neo colors if you want to venture into water solubles. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section below. I would also really appreciate if I would get your feedback in regards to the balcony sessions, because it needs a little bit of planning, and I want to make sure that you guys enjoy the Mondays while you work maybe at your art stuff, listening and watching me do art stuff. So yeah, I would also very much appreciate if you'd give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, share it with a friend or family member, fellow artist, whatever you prefer. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber, have you in the art community and the board game community. Check out all the playlists and stuff on this channel if you're new. The older videos are time-lapsed and either with music or voiceover, and the newer ones, they're real time, so whatever is more to your liking, it's all there on the channel. Have a wonderful day, folks. Take good care. I'm done with my painting. I'm just gonna sign it and then I'm gonna be off. Have a wonderful day. Maybe you got some nice weather outside, it being spring weather or wherever you are in the world. Seasonal, nice weather for you, I hope. And do something creative today. Do something that you like, that makes you feel good, that is just for you and that you enjoy for at least 10 minutes, if not even longer. I would love for you to have some nice time for you there. It's very important, folks, to take care of ourselves pretty much every day in all those busy times. So make sure that you do either something artsy, something creative, something that you really, really enjoy. Do that for yourself today. Have a wonderful week and day and all of that gist. And I'm gonna be back next Monday. I haven't decided what project I'm gonna have. It depends a tiny bit on the weather and what you guys let me know in the comment section regarding outside studio or indoor studio. But I'm having a few projects that I want to do. So yeah, some bigger ones where I'm still in prep mode. But I'm gonna figure that out throughout the week. Take good care, folks. Again, have a wonderful day. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye now. And there's the end screen. Da 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 da. Say goodbye, Sarah. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.